This is the application we shall be building. A habit tracker called Habito. This is the login page. If you want to create an account, you can go to the registration page by using this link. And of course, you can sign up using your username, password, and I'll show you how to do this. If you have an account, then you can log in like I do. So let me log in. When you log in, you're brought to the habit list page. And on this page is the list of habits, the name of the habit, the description, and a little icon to help you delete the habit. You can create a new habit by using this button. You can say new habit, and then here a description. Okay, so I can save, and of course we have a simple, nice message. If I click on a habit, I can see its details on the detail page. I can add a log for this habit. So there are no logs for this habit yet. I can add a log by adding a date. If I check this, it means the habit is done. If I uncheck, it means it's not done. So I can save. And of course, you see it is pending. If I have completed this habit, I can mark it done. Okay, by clicking on this. If I click again on the icon, you see it is pending. So we can toggle between completed and pending. We can edit this habit. You can say new habit edited, and I save. Again, we have that nice message that we can remove. And of course, you can see we have a new message, a new title. And then I can go back to the habit list page, and I can delete a habit by clicking on this button. Okay, so you have deleted, new habit edited. Okay, so this is what we shall be learning, and as well you can log out. So I hope you're excited to learn so many aspects of Django using this project. The first step is to create our project. But before we create the project, we have to make sure we have Django installed. So to make sure you have Django installed, or to install Django, simply run the command Django Python, -m pip install Django. Okay, so you see I already have it installed. If you're on Windows, you can come to the official documentation and use what is the command? There's a command right here. Okay, you can use this for installing Django on Windows. So let me go ahead and create the Django project. So when you install Django, Django sets up for you a tool called Django Admin. And Django Admin is what we use for creating Django projects. So I'll say Django Admin start project. So start project is the argument or command that you pass to Django Admin to create for you the project. Okay. And after that, you specify the name of the project you want to create. In our case, I'll call it Habit Manager. Then hit enter. So you see we have a directory, Habit Manager, which has been created. So let me open it using VS Code. And let me explain what is going on here. So we have a file called manage.py, which is a command line utility tool that is created by Django admin, and it's going to help us to interact with our Django project in various ways. We shall see some of them very soon. And then we have another directory, Habit Manager, which has an init.py file, which you know is telling Python that Habit Manager is a Python package. Okay. And then we have sgi.py. Sgi in full is asynchronous server gateway interface. And this file is simply an entry point for SGI compatible servers. Then we have settings.py. Settings.py is simply a file that holds the configuration or settings for our project. We have urls.py, where we shall declare the URLs of our project, which is simply like a table of contents for our site. Then we have wsgi.py, which in full is web server gateway interface. This file serves as an entry point for WSGI compatible servers. So let's make use of the first file I explained to you. Okay, So I'll quickly open our terminal and then say python manage.py run server. So like you see, I'm using that manage.py file and I'm passing to it a command called run server. And this will enable us to start a server for development purposes. So make sure you don't use this server in production. Very soon I'll be explaining to you how you can set up your project for production. So let us go to this address and you can see it says the install worked successfully. And if you move back right here, you see a file called db.sqlite3 has been created. And I'll explain to you why it was created. You will notice that my files are saved automatically. Okay. So for you, make sure after every change you make in your project, okay, save it, because mine will be saved automatically. So of course, if you're on Windows, it will be Control plus S. Okay, Control S, and then of course for people on Mac will be Command. Okay, Command plus S. So make sure you take note of this. Okay, you might see my things happening automatically and you wonder what is going on. It's because I've set up my VS Code to do this for me automatically. So make sure you save your files, and also when you're doing this course, ensure that you are good at the following. Okay, you know some basic Python. Okay, you know some basic Python, you know how to use a browser. Okay, and you have basic knowledge about the internet. Okay, so let's create our first app using the command python manage.py start app tracker. So you might be thinking, what is the difference between a project and an app, a Django project versus a Django app? A Django app is simply a web application that does something useful. For example, a blog system, you get a record system, a tracker app like what we have right now, a habit tracker, okay? And a Django project is a collection of configuration and apps for a particular website. And a project can have multiple apps, and an app can be used in multiple projects. As simple as that. So we need to do one more thing. We need to tell Django about this app, and we open settings.py and scroll to a list called installed apps. So you see we already have a number of apps that come by default with Django. We have admin, we shall be looking at the Django admin soon. We have auth for authentication, we have content types, we have session for session management, we have messages, which is the messages framework, and the static files, what enables us to use static files in this project or in a Django project. And we shall talk about this and this in detail, and actually also auth and admin. Okay, so we need to add our app here, and I'll say, so to add the configuration of our app, that configuration is in a file called apps.py. Okay, tracker apps.py, and it's called tracker config. Okay, it inherits from app config. So this helps us like to specify the default field, okay, for the primary key, that it should be the name of our app, and so on and so forth. I'm going to be creating content about this in detail, how you can manipulate this. So what you'll need to do here is to say tracker, okay, that's the name of the app, dot apps, which is this file here, then dot tracker config, okay, dot tracker config, and that's it. That's all we need. So next up, we are going to create our models. Let's now create our models. To do that, go to tracker models.py, and then we can remove this. And of course, you already have this first line of code from django.db import models. This is going to help us to create models. So models are simply classes in Python which represent how our tables in the database will look like. So I'll say class habit, okay. Then from models we inherit model. Okay, so this inheritance will turn habit into a model, which means a class which represents how our database table will look like, and the Django ORM will use that to create the models for the table for us in the database. Okay, so we shall need a column called name, which will be a car field. So if you do not know SQL, you may need a little bit of knowledge in SQL to understand what happens under the hood, but this makes it very simple for you. So we need to specify the maximum length of the name. A name can be maximum of 50 characters, and we want them to be unique. So shall say unique equals to true. Okay, and then after that, a habit can have a description. Okay, and this will be models dot text field. Okay, because shall need more text to be entered, so it has to be a text field. So a text field gives you more text to enter. Okay, and in the form, you'll see that the input will be a text area in HTML, which is wider or allows you to enter more text than a character field. And then this will be, of course, this one can be blank, meaning in the form in the browser you can choose not to give us a description for a habit. And also in the database the column can be empty, so we shall say true. So usually they will ask you what's the difference between the blank equals to true and null equals to true. So this one is for the form, affects the form in the browser. This one here affects the database column. So this means in the browser you can choose not to enter, and then in the database it will also be empty. Okay, so we shall make them empty for both the form and the database column. After that, we shall need to have created by. Okay, who created this habit? So this will be models dot foreign key. This is how we create a foreign key using Django models, and we want this to be the user. You get foreign key to the user. So a one-to-many relationship. A user can create many habits, and for that to happen, I'll import, say, from Django dot contrib dot auth import a function called get user model. This will give us the user model. So I'll say user will be equals to get user model, like that. So if you hover over this, see what it says? It says return the user model that is active in this project. Okay, and it will give us the actual user model. Okay, of course, another way you can do it is by saying from django.auth.models import user. Okay, this can also work for this project, but I want to show you this because it's the recommended way when you're creating a custom user model. And very soon I'll have a project where I'll be showing you how to do that. So I'll change this to .auth import get user model. Then of course you can say foreign key to the user, and then what happens when you delete, we have here on delete. So this says what will happen when you delete a user. Okay, when you delete a user, what happens to a habit? We want all habits of a user to be deleted. So to do that, we shall say models dot cascade. So that is what cascade means. Cascade means when you delete a user, delete all the habits. Okay, then after that, we have what is called related name. Okay, which will specify the reverse relationship, and this will be habits. Okay, how shall we refer to uh, how shall we refer to a habit, to all the habits of a user? Okay, this will be the name we shall be using, so it will be like so. Shall say user instance dot habits. Okay, if I change this to places, then it will be user dot places. Okay, but of course we have to put something that makes sense, so this will be habits. Okay, and then after here we have another field that will be created at. Okay, maybe I'll just call it created and say equals to models dot date time field. Okay, and I'll say auto now equals to true, like that. Okay, so this means that Django will populate for us the date time immediately when an instance of habit is created. Okay, is inserted into the database. That is what auto now means. It will be created. This column will be populated the very first time when a habit is created. Okay, then we have another column called updated, which will be equals to models dot date time field, and shall say auto now add equals to true. So this one, auto now add, means that every time this habit is created or created for the first time or updated, this value will always be updated automatically. So that's the good thing. And then also we can define the string representation of this habit, of a habit, you get, using the underscore str method. If you remember your Python basics. So this takes self is an instance method, and you can say return self dot name. As simple as that. And then I can drag this down, and then after that have another model. Okay, say class habit log models dot model. Okay, and then shall be logging habits. Okay, logging a habit, so shall say equals to models dot foreign key. Okay, foreign key to what? To this, to a habit. So a habit can have many logs, so one-to-many relationship. So foreign key is used to represent a one-to-many relationship. If you want to represent a one-to-one relationship, you use models dot one-to-one field. If you want to represent a many-to-many relationship, you use models dot many-to-many field. And soon I'll be showing you projects that involve this. Okay, so I just want to highlight that. I'll revert back to foreign key. Foreign key to what? To the habit. Okay, which is this. And then when we delete, on delete, when we delete a habit log, we should delete all its habit. Okay, so if we delete a habit, okay, all its logs should be deleted. That's what this means. When we delete a habit, all its logs should be deleted. And then how shall we refer to habit logs of a habit from a habit? That we do using the related name field. Okay, and that will be I'll call it logs. Let me make it lowercase, logs, like that. Okay, logs. All right. After that, I think let me just put this down so that you can see clearly, and also we can also have this down so you can see it. Okay, like that. What next? What other field we need? We need the date. Okay, the date will be equals to models dot date field. Okay, the date when you made the log, and then we can have the status equals to models dot boolean field, and we shall give it a default value. We shall say by default this will be false. Okay, false. So when it is true, it means you completed. Okay, when it's false, it means you did not complete. And then finally we can define the string representation, underscore str underscore say self, then say return. This can be an f string. We say self dot habit dot name. Actually, this will help us in the Django admin. And then next up, self dot date. Okay, as simple as that. Then we can actually register these in our Django admin. Okay, come here and then we import. Okay, say from .models import. We need to import the habit. We need to import the habit, and also we need to import the habit log. Then I can say admin .site .register habit. Okay, then admin .site .register habit log. As simple as that. Okay, now we can now run our migrations. Okay, we can now run the migrations. So before we run migrations, we need to make them. Okay, so to make migrations, you say python manage.py make migrations and hit enter. Okay, so you see a migration file was created. If you open this, you'll see 001 initial. Okay, so this file has instructions on how to create the tables in the database. Okay, so to apply this migration, finally now to tell Django to apply this migration to our database, and by the way, our database is an SQLite database, and that is created by default in Django. To apply that, we shall say python manage.py migrate. So this command will apply this migrations here, okay, to the database. So before you migrate anything, you have to make migrations first. You make migrations, then you migrate. Hit enter. Okay, and so you see other migrations have been applied. Okay, and then for our app is here, this last one. Initially I showed you other apps in settings.py like the admin, auth, content types. Okay, those are inbuilt sessions. They are inbuilt migrations in Django. Let me just show you again what that is. These are the apps. Okay, auth, admin, content types, sessions in our app here, static files, messages. So these are already created by Django, and so when we apply them when we run migrate for the first time, Django applies them. Okay, so every time you make changes to your model, for example, if I came here and I changed our field, this field, let us say, for example, I changed this field from status to maybe statuses. Okay, I have to, the first thing I'll do is to make migrations, python manage.py make migrations. Okay, so you see it's asking me, was habit log.status renamed to habit log.statuses? I'll say y to mean yes. Then you see read, a new file has been, migration file has been created. Rename field status on habit log to statuses. Then I can now apply that migration by saying manage.py migrate. So take note of that. In our case, I'll change it back to status. And so that means I have to run python manage.py make migrations. So I'll say yes again. Then now I say python manage.py migrate to apply that migration to the database. As simple as that. So our migrations are created in this directory or package called migrations. And you can see we have 3 migrations. And you can actually roll back from this migration to this one or to this one, or can combine them, what is called squashing. If you're interested in that, I can do tutorials on that, videos on that. So let me know in the comment section. So next up, we shall be starting to build features for our application. Let's run our app, our project I mean, by saying python manage.py run server Okay, so if I reload this page, we have this working. So let's go to our first view. We shall come here to views.py, and a view in Django is a function or class that accepts an HTTP request and returns a response to the client that is requesting for it. Okay, so I'll say a function called habit list, and it takes a request and will return a response. Okay, and we can say return render. So we have this function called render given to us by Django from Django.shortcuts render. It will help us return a response. And the first argument it takes is a request, and then the template. Okay, tracker, it will be in tracker slash habit underscore list dot html, and I'll explain this in a moment. So we shall come here to this folder called tracker and create a directory called templates, then create another directory called tracker. Then after that, so follow that order strictly. Then after that, we shall have habit underscore list dot html. Okay, so this path here you're seeing here, tracker is this, habit list dot html is this. So this is the recommended way of doing it. By doing this, it helps to avoid conflicts you get in Django. So this is how it's supposed to be done. Okay, I'll show an alternative way. And the way Django finds this is because of a setting. So if you come here to settings.py, where we're setting a called app does true. You get, so when app does equals to true, Django will come into the directory of every app like tracker, look for a directory called templates, then look for another directory named after the app name still, and then find your templates inside there. So a template in Django is simply a Python string or a text document, as simple as that. That is going to be rendered using what they call the Django templating engine, or and can be made up of the Django templating language, which we shall look at very soon. So this is our file. Okay, so, and I'll come here down. I think for now this is okay. I can now close this file and come here to our, I can close this and then open up, create a file here called urls, okay, .py. So in urls, I'll create a Python list called url patterns Python list, and this one is a list that is going to have the URL configuration of our application, okay, of our app. So we need now to define a path, okay, so I'll say from django.urls import path, then I'll say path, our path, this will be now the root. You get when you visit the root of our website like this, we control what you see using the view we just created, okay, using this view. So I'll import it here. I'll say from .views import habit list, okay, then I'll say the view is equals to habit list. So the first argument is the path itself, and first is the root, then we have habit list, which is the view that will process all requests coming to that root URL, and then it also takes a name. Okay, so name equals to habit underscore list, and this name will help us in our templates to refer to this URL, and it makes it easy for you to make changes across multiple templates without having to come to edit everywhere you get your path, and we shall see that. So once we're done with that, we now need to tell the global URLs file, okay, which is this one here, about our latest configuration. about latest URL configuration. And for us to do that, I have to use this function called include and say path. When you visit the root of our site, simply include the configuration from tracker.urls, and we save that. So if I refresh here, you'll see we have an empty page, and that is actually because our template has nothing. Okay, so I come to templates here, and then I put here some content. You will see that when we refresh our page, it will definitely change. So let's try to add something to our template. Okay, I will say I'll put an h1, okay, and say let's make, if I can do this correctly, let's make habits together. Okay, like that. So if I refresh the page, you'll see we have something. Okay, then after that, I will then go back to our view, and maybe we try to fetch, okay, to fetch some habits. So to do that, we'll come to our view here, and then I'll import our model, okay, from Django dot, not from Django, this has to be from dot models import habit. Okay, that's what we need. So what we're importing is actually this model here, this one. Okay, so using the Django ORM, we can now say our habits, all our habits will be equals to habit dot objects, so this is the syntax, dot all, so this means give us all our habits. Okay, and we can send these habits in a Python dictionary, okay, called the context. We shall call it context, and shall say, shall have a key called habits, and the value would be the query set habits. So this is called a query set. A query set is a representation of database values, or a result of a database operation. That's what a query set is. So this context here can be passed as a third argument to this, okay, to this render function. So you see render takes the request, the name of the template, and the context. So how Django will work it under the hood and pass all this data to this, okay, to our template. So that's how powerful templates are. And in our template, we can display that data using a loop. How is that possible? We can do this. We can say two curly brackets, 2% signs, then say for habit in habits. So this will be passed to this template via here, via the context. Okay, this is what we're referring to, this variable habits. Then you can say end for. So that's this has to mark, this marks the end of the for loop, and this is the beginning. Okay, then here we can now define variables. Maybe put a simple h5 and say put those curly brackets and say habit dot name, because every habit has a name. So this is how you output a value of a variable in a Django template. And then you can have a small and say habit dot description. So shall display the description of the habit. And then what else? We can have that for that. Of course, just say if you don't have habits, if you refresh right now, you see nothing appears. So before ending, we can say if it is empty, if this list here is empty, okay, if it is empty, so this is like an else clause. If it is empty, then give us a message, simple message saying that no habits yet. No habits yet. Start by adding 1. Okay, so this is what we're going to have. So if I refresh the page, you see we have that message, no habits yet, start by adding 1. So we can add 1 quickly, and an easy way is to use the Django admin. So the Django admin is an admin interface that is created automatically for you by Django. And if you go into the root urls.py, you will see URL configuration saying admin slash, and it takes admin.site.urls. So this is created for us by Django, which is very, very nice. So I'll kill the server, and to access this site, we need a super user. You get, only a super user can access this site. So we shall say python manage.py create super user and hit enter. So the username for this super user will be Nehe. The email, I'll say nehe@gmail.com. I'll just put a simple password. Okay, say yes. So the super user was created successfully. So I'll now run our server again, our development server, python manage.py run server. Then I can open a new tab and say localhost/admin. Admin, if you can spell that correctly, like that. And you see, we get our admin interface. So I can now put our user, can say nehe@gmail.com with the password 123, and then login. All right, looks like we made a mistake. So what was the email? I think it was g@gmail.com. Okay, and the password. All right, that looks wrong. So I have to create another one. Okay, whose password I can remember. So create super user. I'll give the same username. I'll say nehe2. Okay, nehe@gmail.com. Password, I hope I'll remember it this time. I'll say yes, then run the server again. Then let's try to log in. Wow, this is interesting. One, two, three. Let's say Steve. So is it the email which is wrong? Oh, so I think you see the problem. The problem is the username. It's supposed to be the username, not the email. Sorry, guys. Then I log in. So you see, we've been able to log in. And if I expand this, you will see that we are able to enter the site administration, and we have, you see, we have our habit logs, our habits here. We have our users, groups. So we can now create our first habit by giving it a name, and we say probably leg day. Description: the day when I do leg exercises. Okay, created by, I'll put this one here and save. Okay, so if you click again this, you can see the list. Okay, so you can add another habit, and I'll say arms day. So description is the day I work out my arms. Then come here, say by this guy, save. If you come here to the list, you see we have 2 habits. So if I minimize this again, and then come here and refresh, you see we have this, but this is a mistake. So we're supposed to come here and add another bracket. It's supposed to be 2 curly brackets. Okay, then also here the same thing, and also here the same thing. If I save this, come and refresh the page, you see we have leg day, description, arms day, description. create a file, base.html. Then let me paste some HTML here, some boilerplate. So what is key about this file is that it has a link to a Bootstrap style sheet, and then at the bottom, the required JavaScript for it to work. So I'll share this in the description below. You'll be able to find this, and you can just copy and paste in your project. So next up, of course, we have a simple style for the error list. Then we have a header, and inside the header we have a navigation bar, okay, with a simple title. We shall be using this soon. And then we have, of course, a main tag here with a class of container. So I'll run our project, Python manage.py run server. When you come here, refresh, okay, of course you see nothing has changed. So there's a concept called template inheritance in Django, and we can do this by coming to habit list, okay, and then we inherit, okay, using that, okay, double brackets, then those 2% signs, then you say extends, of course you have to put those quotes, tracker slash base.html. So tracker is referring to this other directory, then base.html. Okay, so if I refresh, you see we now have the navbar. This navbar is now being shown, but everything else is being hidden. Okay, so we need to divide our page into sections, or sections of content, and we can do that by saying inside our main class, all the content will be by creating what is called blocks. Okay, so we can say we have a block called content. Then at the bottom we can say end block. So all this, what we have here, can now appear in between here. And to do that, we have to wrap everything here in a block called content. So say block content, then end block. Okay, then I can refresh the page. No, this is wrong. Then I can refresh the page. So you see we have everything that we need. So we can add some styles to this. So this is basically how the Django templates work. Okay, so we inherited base.html. Okay, and in this section we injected this part here, okay, in a block called content. So you use these blocks to create sections within a page, within a template, I mean, that you have inherited. And for us, we inherited from this. So you might be wondering, why is our title not appearing? For that to happen, I'll copy it, then paste it here. Oh, that was a mistake. Control, cut it, paste it there inside within the block. So due to template inheritance, it will be injected there. So we can make it actually better by having a class. I can say so this is basic bootstrap md3 meaning create columns, 3 columns on medium devices. Then after that we can have div dot container dot empty4, meaning a margin top of 4. Then the columns on medium devices can be 6 MDs for medium. Okay, then we can have this title, okay, inside here now. And after that we can now have another div having a class container, in another class empty4. Okay, like that. Then I just have maybe an empty div inside here, like that. Then we can now copy all this. Maybe before I copy, I need to let me just copy first. Copy all this, okay? And then create some space just to separate them and paste this inside here. So let me refresh to see what we have so far. Okay, that's not bad. So after that, I want to do some more styling, okay, to this, like for the title. But what I'll do, I'll simply create a class, okay, above here, a div, and that div will have a class, the following classes, okay. So the class will be empty2 space border space border radius, no, I think it's border success. This will make it somehow green. Then I say rounded. I should probably actually just copy and paste this so that you don't have to watch me do the boilerplate. Okay, then inside here we can have another div with a class. Okay, so if you don't know HTML, maybe I can put in the description a few links to tutorials where you can learn HTML and CSS. Justify content between. Okay, so there's a missing a y here, and then after that I can maybe then have this content inside there, this, okay, paste it there, then refresh, and there we are. Okay, something looking much better. So but now I want probably to make this dynamic. Okay, not dynamic, like every time we change something on the template, okay, it should automatically refresh here. So let's set up Django browser reload. Django browser reload will allow us to reload our templates without having to save and manually refresh the browser. Okay, so to install it, of course, you need this command pip install Django browser reload, but I already have it. So let me kill the server and then paste this command. Okay, did I copy it well? So copy it again and paste. So you see I already have it. So when that's done, so copy it, go to install apps, and then add Django browser reload. Okay, make sure you add it. When you're done, go to your urls.py and include this. Okay, copy that. We go to urls.py. Okay, then paste that. Okay, when you're done with that, scroll down, copy this too, go to settings.py, middleware, and add it at the end. Okay, so we add middleware like that. Okay, after to test this, we can now run our application. So yeah, it is running. So let's go here, refresh, and then you can see the reload worker is working. So if I go, for example, to base templates, base.html, and I change something, or maybe in habit list, get, and I say habits, uppercase, and save. Are you seeing? it changed automatically without me having to refresh the page in the browser. So that's the advantage of that little package. So add it if you need it. Come to base.html, remove this part of the navbar, copy it, okay, copy it and save the file. You'll see that the number will disappear, and then we're going to create a new file called navbar.html and then paste it there, okay, close it. Then you can now come here and say percent, curly brackets, then percent, then you say include, put quotes, tracker slash navbar.html. So include helps us to add small portions you get of HTML files in a main HTML file like this. So for example, if you wanted to share this across maybe multiple parts of your application, you can use the include tag. So yeah, I just showed you two so you can learn it and have it in your arsenal and use it whenever you need to. This page should only be accessed by users who have logged in. So to do that, we can come to our view, okay, and then import a function, okay. That is from django.auth.contrib.auth import, I think this login, is this login required? The decorator that we need, it is contrib.auth, the decorators, import login required. So we shall come here and decorate, okay, like this, and then make sure you've logged out of your Django admin. And now when I refresh this, you see we need to run the server, I think, for that to work. Python manage.py run server. So if I refresh this, you see page not found says the current path accounts login did not match any of this, okay. So we need to set up URL configuration for what happens when someone has not logged in. They should be redirected somewhere, okay. So to do that, I'll come to our urls.py. Actually, it's not urls.py. We shall start from settings.py and define to add configuration to configuration, okay. The first one will be logout when someone logs in, okay. Log in, not logout but login redirect URL. So when you log in successfully, we shall take it to the habit list. Where am I getting this name from? It's the name that we used here. Where is that? This one, okay, habit list. So we shall take you to that URL. It's the login redirect when you log in successfully, okay. And for now, we need to come to our views, our URLs, okay, and then import a function or rather a class that is going to help us with login, and this one is inbuilt into Django. This is why I like Django, from django.contrib.auth import views, okay. Then we can come here down and say, so you have to name it accounts/login, just like you see here, okay. Accounts/login, accounts, like that. And then the view will be equals to views, okay, dot, let me call this auth views as auth_views. Then I'll say auth views, auth_views dot login view. okay, dot as view. So this is a class-based view, as simple as that. And we can change its name here to say the name of this view is login, like that. All right, so I can save. If I refresh, you see our server had crashed. Let us restart the server, refresh. You see template does not exist at accounts login. Okay, so we can define our template for login, and I can say our template, the template name, so we can pass here a parameter or an argument called template name will be equals to, will be in tracker slash login.html. So this is where we're going to have this. Okay, so of course you see this, it says template does not exist, tracker login.html. So let's create it. We shall come here, go to templates, tracker, then create login.html, and then you see, so that is rectified. And then we can now extend our base template. We shall say extends base.html. Okay, and after that can say we need now to specify the block of content. You can say block content, then you can now end the block, like that. So actually this is wrong, it's supposed to be tracker slash base.html. Okay, like that. So let me see, have I made any mistake? Extends tracker base HTML. If I refresh, all right, so it's now working. Okay, it's now working. So now let's now create a div here and give this div a class of container, class equals to container. Okay, and our text, the text will be centered, I mean. Okay, after that we can have an h1 tag saying organize your life with Habito. Okay, so this is our app. Then after that we can have a small element saying Habito helps you build habits on behavior science. Okay, just something fancy like that. And now we can have another div, okay, with a class saying margin top 4 columns, create 10 columns, but for medium devices should be 5, and then MX auto, okay, the horizontal margin. Then inside here we can have our form, okay, our login form, and Django will inject a form here, and the method will be post, because they're going to be sending sensitive data. Okay, then of course we can now say our form like that. Okay, so you see, this is what I like about Django. So when Django finds this URL here, okay, and you makes use of this view here. Of course you can create your own view, but I chose to use this view because this view will pass into the context. Remember context? The context will pass into the context a form, and we can access it in our template like this. So we have our form having username and password, and then after that we can also have a button here. Okay, you can say give us a button. Okay, and the type of this button is going to be submit, a submit button. and the text can be login, okay, and then you can give it a simple class. That's a class equals to btn. Why do I always make this mistake? btn primary, okay, then we can make it rounded a little like that. Let's say rounded peel, okay. So how is that? So that's better, so we shall improve it later. For now I want to show you the real basic form. So in addition to that, we need to have protection against CSRF attacks, okay. So you can read about this. You get this says a cross-site request forgery, CSRF, is an attack that forces an end user to execute unwanted actions on a web application in which they are currently authenticated. So Django has inbuilt mechanisms to prevent such attacks, and you want to have a tag, okay? A tag, and this tag is called the CSRF underscore token, okay? So this will help you prevent such attacks. So for now, we need to test our login. We shall come back to improve this page later. So let us test our login. We'll say nehe password that you see says please enter correct username and password. You see, this is a good thing about Django. So all this is handled for you. So if I enter the correct one, 1, 2, 3, and I hit login, you see we are being brought right here, which is good. To implement logout, we need to move to our navbar here, okay, and modify it. So I'll drag this down. We are going to, inside here, in this span, we need to add 2 links, okay. So I'll put an anchor tag, okay, and call this logout, okay. Then we can have another one called login. So if I save this and you come here, you'll see that we have logout and login, okay. So now we can now come here and put a condition, okay. So we can put conditions in our template, an if statement, and say that if user dot is underscore authenticated, so under the hood, Django will give us this user object, okay, in the context of this template. That's the nice thing about Django. So, and the user instance will have this attribute. So if it is true, then we say you can now log out. Else, okay, so I can put here an else. Say else you log in, okay. Then I can put an end if, okay. So this is how you end an if statement. You mark the end of an if statement in the Django template. And of course, if you don't do that, you'll see the error that we kept on getting here, say template syntax error. So make sure you always fix that. Then we can come here and we can start with this one and say href is equals to, okay, curly brackets, they have to be inside the quotes, curly brackets, %%. You see the URL is login, okay. So that is simply referring to this name here, okay, login. Actually, I think I have a formatter in this project. If I kill this server and quickly say black star.py, I have something called black here. I'm not sure if it was able to format all. I say black habit manager, format all files ending with star.py. All right, but let's continue. Let me not divert so much into that. Okay, so we can come back here and then say we want to perform this. Okay, so we need the URL for logging out. But before that, we need to create the view that will help us to log out. So we can come to views.py, okay, and create a view. Okay, we say define a view called logout. Logout. We also take the request. Okay, so after taking the request, we need to redirect to the login page. Okay, so you can say return redirect. Okay, but we need to import this function. Okay, say redirect, return redirect, and we shall redirect you to the login. Okay, login page. And Django has a function which can help us to log out. So I'll import it. I'll say from django.contrib.auth import logout. Okay, so we can come here and say logout person of this request, pass the request like that. And for this to work, we need to maybe change this name to logout view. I'll call it logout underscore view, just like that, to avoid a name conflict. So I can now come to our urls.py and define a path, okay, for logging out. Maybe I can do this so you can see these other names clearly, like that. Okay, so say we have a new path. The path will be logout, and the view will be equals to, so from views I'll import logout view, then say the view is logout view, and the name of this view will be logout, like that. So I can now come to our template, the navbar template, and say the href is equals to curly brackets %%, and the URL is logout, like that. And so meaning that this is referring to this one here. Okay, so when I come here, you see we only have the logout because of our if statement here. And then we can now click. When you click on it, you see we are logged out. We come to the login. We are redirected to the login page. So if I try to access the habit list, we can't. Okay, we can't. So I'll just log in again. And there we are. Okay, so we can maybe modify this. When you click on this name, it just takes you to the habit list. To do that, we can come here and modify this and say href equals to two curly brackets %% URL habit list, like that. And then we're referring to is this one here, this habit list. Okay, so if I now click on it, you see it takes us to the habit list. Web applications always require extra files like JavaScript files, CSS files, and images or videos. These files in Django are called static files. So I'm going to log out and add an image here. So an image is a static file. And to do that, I'll create a directory here in the root, okay? And I'll call it static, okay? Then I will paste an image in here. So feel free to get this image in the repository. I'll share the link in the description. Okay, so this is the guy we're going to have here. And then we need to tell Django to be aware about this static file. To do that, we go to settings.py, then we add another configuration at the bottom, and the configuration will be called static files, like that, underscore does. You get, this simply means the directories that are having our static files, and for us it's in the base directory, okay, of our project. So base slash static, okay, lowercase. So our base means the root of our project, then static, which is this. And where does base come from? It is defined up here. If I can scroll up this, okay, so it helps us find the base directory. Okay, so this is the location of our static file. Our static files will be inside here, and for now we have one static file, which is this login illustration.png file. Okay, so we need now to go to the template, okay, which is login.html, and add it. Okay, so we shall add this file just above the h1 tag and say image. Okay, close that, and then we can simply say the source, okay, the source %, like that. Now we need to build the path, okay, a path to source it. And for that to happen, we'll go back to our settings.py, okay, and specify another setting called static. Another setting called static URL, okay. So this is the URL we're going to use to access our static files, and I'll call it static with a / like that, okay. So this is the URL for accessing. This is where they are stored, URL on which our static files will be served. So when we come here, we need to do an extra thing here in our templates by saying load static, okay. So by saying load static, Django will know that we want our static files to be available to this template. And now we can come here and we say static, okay, then we put the name of that file. So to make it easy, I'll just simply come to this directory and say rename and copy it, okay, copy the name, then come here and paste. So login illustration png. So let me rerun the server and then refresh. So you see it's right here, but it's too big, okay, it's messing up our page. So I'll give it some width, okay, and say width equals to 150 units of the vertical width, okay. Then some height, you can see the height is equals to 150 with the vertical height, you get. And of course you can give other alt attributes like the alt, and say this is equals to my image. You can just call it login deco image, decoration image, something like that, okay. Yeah, maybe we can do it a class, push it from the top, say margin top 4. To create new habits, let's first log in quickly. Okay, I need to enter the right password. Okay, so we need to come to this page, which is the habit list page. Then at the bottom, I can simply create a button which can also act as a link. right here, and then say new habit. Okay, so when you click on this, it will take us to a different page. But then we can style this and we say class equals to btn primary shall make it also rounded, a rounded pill, MT4. Okay, from the top. So like that. So with that, we need to create for the href, we need to create the view and URL to handle for this. So let's go to the views here, views.py down here, and then I'll create a function called add habit, which will take the request. Okay, and then we can put here requirement that should only be for people who have logged in. So this decorator will make sure that only people who have logged in can access this. Then we say if the request dot method, okay, request dot method is equals to post, then we know that someone has submitted information. Okay, because here in our form, if you look at our form is going to have a post method, and I'll show you that. But if someone just clicks on this link, then we notice it's a get. Okay, shall say else, then we shall have to put here some information. Okay, so let's handle the first part. When you send information via the form, and that will mean you're executing a post request, we have to execute to populate our form. Okay, but for now we don't have a form, so let's create this form. To create this form, we'll go to we shall create a file, okay, forms.py, and in this file I'll say from Django import forms. Okay, then I'll say class habit, say add, let's call it habit form, habit form. Then I inherit from forms dot model form, forms dot model form. So forms dot model form will give us all methods and attributes to make our class a form, and you'll see it very soon in the HTML. So when we come here, we have to create an inner class called meta, and we need to specify which model are we going to create our form from. So model form helps you to create forms from models. So we shall import our model from models, import habit. Okay, and if you remember, in our models we have habit and habit log, and we shall create a form using the name and description. So I'll come here and say the model that we're interested in is the habit, and the fields we want our form to have will be the name and the description. As simple as that. With this, we have our form ready to be used. So I'll close this, come back here and say our form. Now we need to import that form. Say from dot forms import model, import habit form. So here we can say habit, our form goes to habit form, like that. And then we can pass some information, okay, that will come from the post request by saying request dot post. Okay, and then this form here, what I like about Django is that this form will help us perform validation. So before we save the information in the form, we need to check that the form is valid. So if form is valid, this method is available to us on the model form. If the form is valid, Then we can say the habit will be equals to form.save. Okay, then we say commit equals to false. Okay, and I like this message. It says save this form self.instance object if commit is true. Otherwise, add a save underscore m2m method to the form, which can be called after the instance is saved manually. So saying commit is false will make sure we get the value of the instance here, but it will not be pushed to the database. Okay, and why I want to do that is because remember in our model we have this field. We have this field called created by, and I want to populate it. Okay, so how I'll populate it by doing like this: habit dot created by is equals to the request object dot user. So we shall get the currently logged in user by request dot user, and that's the person who is creating the habit. Then after that, I can now say habit dot save. As simple as that. Now Django has a framework. Okay, something I showed you at the beginning in installed apps. A framework called messages, django.contrib.messages. It will help us to pass around messages in our application. So for now, I have to show you that. I'll say messages, okay, but I have to import it up here. So I'll say from django.contrib import messages. Then I'll say messages dot success. This has been successful. Text in the request, and after that we say you have added a new habit. As simple as that. Then once you're done, we are done, we can now redirect. You can say return. We redirect to the habit list like that. So it will redirect to the view, the habit list view. Okay. Now, if you're not adding something to the database, okay, and you just want to access the page, this is where the else will work. Okay, here we can now say, we can just say our form equals to habit form, an empty form, and then we can say, just come here and say return render. We render text will take in the request. Okay, after taking in the request, we need to specify the template will be tracker slash add underscore habit dot html, like that. Then we can have our context there and say the form is the form. Okay, as simple as that. Tracker add habit.html. So we need to create this immediately. Okay, so we can come here to templates and we say add underscore habit.html. html. Okay, and for now it is empty. So what else we need to do is to create a URL. Okay, so for the URL, what we have to do is this. Come here and say we're defining a new path called, you can call it just slash add. Then you say the view, simply pass the view and say views dot add. Let me say here add habit. Okay, you can just pass it here directly. You say the view is equals to add habit, and the name of this view will be add underscore habit. So you can make use of this name, okay, here in the habit list, and say you brackets %% URL add habit, save. So when I click on this, it takes us to the add habit page, but it's empty. So let's put some content in that template. Where is it? It's here, add habit. So the content we're going to add here is as follows. Okay. The first thing we need to do is to we need to extend, of course, like but some of this is repetitive. Someone is just going to copy. Okay, I'm going to copy this, extends tracker base.html, paste it. Then we need, of course, block content. Then after that, end block, like that. Then we need a div. Okay, and we say class goes to container mt4 call md4, like that. Then you can have an h1 like that, saying add new habit. Make the n uppercase, add new habit. Is this running? Okay, it is. Let me refresh. Okay, there we are. So after that, we can have another div, and maybe just separate things. So it's a class equals to mt4. Then here we can now have our form. Okay, now our form, whose method is going to be post. Remember, it has to be post, like that. I mean, like this. Then after that, of course, don't forget the csrf underscore token. Then after that, we can now display our form. Okay, are you seeing how easy it is to create a form? So this came from here. All right, this is what is being displayed, this form here. Okay, then we can now add another div. I'll add a div here. Okay, add a div, and then we can say put here a button. Okay, put a button, and this button will say save the habit. Okay, save habit. But then I want this button to have some styling. But before that, I'll say the type of this button is the submit button, and the class will be equals to btn dash primary rounded pl. So these are bootstrap classes. Okay, as simple as that. So what else can I do? What's this? It's a mistake. Okay, so after that, I can have another button. Okay, but it will be a link actually, which says back to habit list. Okay, maybe I can make then we can say href equals to, can you guess? It will be the URL leading us back to the habit list. Okay, so you see habit underscore list, like that. Okay, so but you can also style it, and we say give it this a class, subclasses of btn, but btn secondary, and then can make this also a rounded pl, like that. So when you click on it, you see, when you click on this, it takes you back the habit list. Come back here and go back. So if you click on this, tell you please fill in this field. You cannot save before adding filling in this field. All right, so I hope that's nice, but we can even let us center all these buttons properly by saying flex, creating a flex box, and then we say give us a gap of 2, margin top 4, like that. Not bad. Okay, so let's try to create a new habit. I say brand. This new habit is called maybe bicycle cycling. Come on, can't type bicycle. Bicycle. That is spelling. And cycling. Is it like that? You can say time to ride my favorite bike. Okay, save habit. And there we are. You see, we have a new habit. So what we need to do next is, so that we want to have this message appearing. I showed you the messages framework, which is in the settings.py file under installed apps. Okay, django.contrib.messages. This will help us to display messages in our app. Okay, like this one here. So we need to do that in our template, but we shall go to base.html to make that happen. And I'll open here main and put it just before our blog content right here, so it appears by default everywhere. But this should only happen if there's actually a message. So I'll say if messages. Okay, so Django will, the messages framework will inject this for us in our context, okay, into our template. So if there are messages, then if there's a messages variable, then we can now loop through each one of them. Say for message in messages, okay, then of course we have to say end for that error to end. Then after that, we can, maybe let me just indent this to organize it better. Then we can now create maybe a div quickly, and we can now display the message here. Say message, but I want this to be nice, so I'll style it using some bootstrap classes, and so this should be an alert, and then it will be alert dash, this will be a variable called message dot tags. Okay, so it has tags like for success, failure, okay, and so on and so forth. And this will be an alert dash dismissible. Okay, and then should fade and show. Okay, then we can say role equals to alert. So this is just bootstrap, not even, has nothing to do with Django. Then you can have a button for deleting the message. Okay, we can say type equals to button, not submit. Then shall say class is equals to btn close. Okay, then shall say data dash bs dash dismiss. So this is just a property to help us dismiss the button, which is alert. Okay, then after that shall say the area. So this is just bootstrap css stuff. Area label close. Just be inside here, close. Okay, and that's it. Okay, so let me try to create a new habit. Say new habit, save. Are you saying, grab a message, you have added a new habit. That's nice. And then we can click on this to remove the message. Click again, test it. You have added a new habit. So cool and so nice. For us to have better forms, I'm going to install a tool, actually two of them. So the first one is Django Crispy Forms. Okay, hit enter. So you see I already have it installed. And then another one is called crispy underscore bootstrap 5. How that's the spelling, okay? And it's already installed. So make sure you install those two. After, go to your settings.py. I'll reduce the size of this. Go to your settings.py. And then in your installed apps, have crispy forms, okay? And after that, have crispy underscore bootstrap 5, bootstrap 5, like that, okay? So I will run the app just to make sure everything is okay. No module named crispy bootstrap 5. Okay, seems like we have an issue. Is the spelling? What have I done wrong? Crispy boot, so it's the spelling. Okay, there's a bootstrap like that. Okay, so after that we can now go into our templates. I'll go to tracker templates, add habit. Then we can then make use of those two things. You can say now, you can now load. Okay, you can say load crispy underscore forms like that. Okay, form tags, actually tags like that. Okay, then on the form, you can use a pipe like that and say crispy. Settings object has no attribute crispy template back. All right, let's go back to our settings.py and fix that. Settings.py. Come here at the bottom, and then we can say crispy allowed underscore template underscore packs is equals to, when we install, we shall be using bootstrap 5. Okay, then the crispy template pack, crispy underscore template underscore pack will be equals to still bootstrap 5. Spelling correct? Bootstrap 5, like that. So let's try to run this again. Looking okay. So you see, we instantly have a better form that indicated that it's required. So let me now log out, then we can modify that. Okay, modify the login form to come here, go to templates, login.html. Then I can simply come here to this page, copy this. Okay, come to login, paste. Okay, load in the crispy form tags, then come here, add that pipe and say crispy. So you see, instantly it changed. So let's go to views.py and create a new view called delete habit, delete underscore habit, to take in the request like always, and the PK or primary key of the habit we want to delete. Then here we can say the habit will be equals to get underscore object underscore or 404. Okay, so we can come to the top and have this imported. Is it from decorators? So it's not a decorator, it's a shortcut. So let's say get object of 404. So this will be responsible for returning to us an instance of a habit, of course. Return to us a habit and use filter using the primary key. Okay, and the value of that primary key will be equals to pk. Okay, pk equals to pk. So get a habit whose primary key is the value of pk. And if it's not there, return a 404 error, meaning not found. As simple as that. So when we are done with that, you can now say habit delete. So that's how you delete a record from the database using the Django ORM. After that, you can now say messages dot success, pass in the request. Okay, then you can have a message, an F string saying you have deleted habit.name. Okay, then we can then redirect. So the return redirect to the habit list. And then also this view has to be only accessed by someone who has logged in. So we add this decorator, login required. So login required, delete habit takes in the request and the primary key. We get an object using the Django ORM using this function. And what we're getting is a habit using its primary key. Then we delete it, still using the ORM, the Django ORM operation. So essentially this will perform the SQL for us, and then we can return a message. So let's go to urls.py and define say path. Okay, path, we're going to say delete slash. So to be able to accept this pk here, the ID of the habit, the syntax will be two angle brackets like that. Then set pk. Then in addition to that, specify the type, the data type of the pk. It will be an integer, int, then full colon, as simple as that. Then comma, we can say the view would be equals to let's import it. Is it delete habit? Delete habit, then I can say the name is equals to delete underscore habit. As simple as that. So now I can go to our habit list, templates, habit list, and create a small icon. Okay, so I'll use an emoji. So I will put this probably below this div. Okay, put an anchor tag and then paste an emoji. So you can get this from the repository. So you see how it now reflects here in the browser, and you can use any of your choice. After that, I'll say the href will be equals to percent curly brackets percent URL. Then we say delete underscore habit. Okay. After that, we say the pk would be habit.pk. So that's how you pass the pk. And this should rectify itself in a moment. What is this? Is URL, not URL. Okay, so that's okay. So we need to adjust the style. You see that little underline below it. So I'll add a class here saying text decoration none and text reset. Okay, I have to close this. Text decoration none, text reset, and there we have it. So if I click on this icon here, we should be able to delete a habit. So if I click, say you have deleted this. If I click, you have deleted new habit. We need to make these habit items clickable. So to do that, we shall first of all create a view. Okay. So I can just simply minimize this, get to the bottom here, and say we create a view called habit detail. This will take the request on the pk, and then I can say the habit we're interested in will be equals to get object of 404. This will take in the habit. The pk will be equals to pk, and you want to get habits that someone has created. Okay, created by equals to request dot user. Okay, and actually that makes me remember we need to filter. Okay, right up here, you seen this habits habit.objects.all. Okay, we need to filter this and say filter created underscore by equals to request dot user, a user attribute on the request object. So let's continue. We'll come back down here at the bottom and then say, so also at this part, the Django ORM will help us get a habit by the primary key and by the current user who has logged in. And for that, we have to also specify that login required. Okay, because if someone has not logged in, if someone has not logged in and they try to access this view, this will be none. Okay, request.user will be none. So we need this to ensure that we have request.user populated. Actually, technically, it might be an anonymous user, and I don't want to get into that right now. So we can now say return render. Okay, render takes a request. Then after that, need to specify the template tracker slash habit underscore detail .html, and then we can have a context here. Okay, and say habit habit. Okay, so either way you can decide to remove this and put it into a variable and say context equals to that, then say context. So this makes much more sense. Okay, so now we need to create this template. I'll copy this name, get here and say okay, then I can put a simple message saying habit detail, as simple as that. So after that, we need to get to the urls.py and define the URL conf for that. So come here and say path, okay, habit. So to pick a particular habit, you shall need its ID or the PK. So to do that, again, angle brackets, so the PK, then specify the type, and then a full colon. Then the view will be equals to, we shall say, add scored habit detail. Okay, habit detail. Then name equals to habit underscore detail. Come on, should be here, habit underscore detail, like that. Okay, so I can now come to the habit list and modify this. Okay, I can wrap this whole thing right from this class. Where is it? From here. Okay, I can wrap all this into an anchor tag. Okay, so that it's clickable. So I'll copy that and put it below and just indent that a little bit. Okay, then I can now say href will be equals to curly brackets %%, and the URL we're interested in will be the habit underscore detail. Okay, and then shall pass the pk habit dot pk, as simple as that. So you see all this has been underlined because it's a link. Okay, and when you click, you see we got the habit detail. Okay, so let's remove this underline and the default decoration of an anchor tag. So we shall say class equals to text decoration none, text reset. I think that's already better. Okay, So if I click on this, you see it takes us to that habit detail. All right, so we now need to design the template of the habit detail. Okay, so I'll click, go to habit detail, and then start designing it. Okay, so to design it, we can say, first of all, we need to extend base.html. Can just go to the top here, copy this, go to habit detail, then paste. Okay, so that we have the nav bar by default. Then, so there it is. Then after that, we need to have, of course, block content. Then we end the block like that. After, we can now create a simple div quickly. A div whose class is still a container, margin top 4. Then after that, I can have a simple h1 tag, and then we display the habit's name. Okay, remember that we are passing the habit. If you go to views.py, we have the habit here in the context. Okay, so we can say habit.name. Okay, so that error will disappear. Then after that, I'll say description. Okay, then we say habit.description like that. Okay, that's already better. Then once you're done with all this, we can say, if you want to go back, okay, put an anchor tag, say back to habit list to help us navigate back. And then we can say href equals to curly brackets %% URL habit underscore list like that. So we're done. So we need to just design it to have some nice style, add some styles. So say btn primary, maybe it's secondary. Okay, secondary rounded pill. So this is the command design we have been having. Okay, as simple as that. So when I click on it, see, we go back. If I click on this one, like the click, go back. Click on this one by cycling, go back. Let's create a function called edit underscore habit. It will take the request and the pk. You should only access this view when you have logged in. And then we can say habit is equals to get object of 404, habit pk equals to pk, and then we can say our form will be equals to habit form. So we want our form to be populated with data. For that to happen, we shall say instance equals to habit. So this will enable our form to be populated with data, and we shall see that. Then we can now return render, and we shall say request tracker slash edit underscore habit.html. This will be the template. Then we can pass the context. So for the context, we'll put our dictionary, and then we say the form will be this form, and then the habit will be habit. Okay, as simple as that. Now we need to create this template. To create it, we need to come here and say edit habit.html, and of course it will have to inherit from base.html. Then we need block content. Okay, and then we also need and block. Okay. What else do we need here? We can now say get here and say create a simple div. Okay, and give it a simple class, say container empty for call md5, so 5 columns and medium devices. Okay, then we can create a URL for this view. Come to urls.py, import our view. Okay, then come here and say path habit. Okay, habit, like that, slash, so we need to pick the pk, which is an integer. Okay, then you can say slash edit, like that, slash // then the view will be equals to edit habit, and the name of this will be edit underscore habit. As simple as that. Okay, so now we can close this file and go back to the habit detail page. On this page, you can create a button for editing the habit. Okay, so how shall we create this button? I can simply create here a div to hold all these together. Okay, an anchor tag, and then say edit habit. Okay, like that. Then say the href will be equals to curly brackets %% URL, and then we say edit underscore habit, then we can say habit.pk. All right, since the habit is being passed to this template, and then can say class is equals to, just to style it a little bit, it's a btn success. Okay, and then we can make it a rounded pill, like that. Just to maybe to put some space, some styling on this other div, we can say mt3, like that, margin top. Okay, for now we can leave it at that. We shall improve it later. So when I click on this, okay, so this is supposed to be clickable. All right, so when I click on it, we go to the edit habit page. So let's add some content to it. So on that page, we can now say create a simple title. Okay, a title saying h1 edit habit. Okay, edit habit dash, which habit are you editing? Say habit.name. Okay, after that, so that error has gone. Then let's give it a simple styling. We say margin bottom, because we're going to put content below it. Then we can now define the form. Okay, define the form and say method equals to post. Okay, post, like that. And don't forget the csrf underscore token. Okay, after that, then we can now display our form here. Okay, and we can make it a crispy form by loading the crispy tags. Okay, say load crispy form underscore tags, like that, so that the error here should disappear soon. Okay, load, did I make a mistake? Load crispy, what's wrong? Let's see, load. Okay, spelling of crispy, CRSPY underscore forms. This is supposed to be plural forms, then tags, like that. Then you can come here and add a pipe and say crispy, like that. Okay, so you see it's way already better. Then you can have a button here for editing. So like you see, our form has the details that already populated. Why? Because of this. Instance equals to habit. Okay, so let's get back here and create a button. Okay, and this button here will be over a submit button, type submit. Okay, and we can say update habit, like that. Then we can style it. We can say class btn dash primary, like that. Okay, after then we can have an anchor tag. Okay, saying back to habit list. We can actually copy it from here. Just copy this, paste to save time. Okay, and then I can have both of them in a div. Okay, and I say can create a flex box d dash flex, a gap of 2, margin top 3. Then I can copy these two and put them inside here like this. Okay, yeah, so that's what we have. Let me also make this a rounded pill for consistency in design. Rounded pill, like that. Okay, so I think that's it for this page. So let me say favorite bike and super bikes. Okay, but before that, let's come, we need for that to work. Okay, we can test this and say move back. That works. Okay, click, go back, come back here, move back, come back here, edit habit. Okay, so we need to make sure that this button here works. To do that, go back to our view, and then we can now modify our logic. You get? So when you click on this, it will be the post, a post request. Okay, see, post request. So we need to check and say if the request dot method, the request method is equals to post. Okay, then we get the form and say habit form. Okay, give populate that form with request dot post, and also we can maintain the original data instance equals to habit. Okay, now we can check if the form is underscore valid. Okay, and then we can now save the form dot save, like that. Then you can say messages dot success. Okay, passing the request, and then we say habit updated successfully, like that. Okay, then we can now return, redirect to the habit underscore detail. Okay, but remember that URL habit detail, where is it? Habit detail, this one expects a pk. Okay, so we need to pass that pk right here. I can say, you can say comma pk equals to habit dot pk, like that. Okay, so then I can put a simple else statement, make it easier for you to understand. Else, we have that. Okay, as simple as that. So I think this is good enough. So we have our form populated with the new data and the existing data. Then if the form is valid, we save it and display a message. So let's test this. Habit, my fav bike updated. Then I update. You see, habit updated successfully. And you can just change. If we come here, remove this, say edit. Let's click a button. So this will be called add log, as simple as that. And then we can maybe style it very quickly say btn, btn, give it btn probably success. Okay, maybe to make them different, we can make this one btn warning, like that. Okay, just create a simple difference. Then I can copy this, paste it here, so they have similar shapes. And then let's create the view for adding a log. So I'll get here the bottom. Okay, then I can say define a function called add log, and it will take a request. Okay, and then the pk of the habit for which we want to add a log. And of course, this should only be accessed by those who have logged in. And then now we can have the habit here, habit equals to habit dot objects. Okay, this one we can get something. Habit using the Django ORM, you can say habit dot objects dot get. Okay, pk equals to pk. Of course, you can also use this get object of 404 method. Okay, but I'm trying to show you another way you can do that. But always make sure that you have this pk, because if you don't, this can easily be empty, and then your application can work in a way that you don't expect it to work. All right, so we have our form. So we shall create a form which will be the habit. I'll call it habit log form. Okay, so let's create this form. Let's come here to forms.py, and then you can say class habit log form, and it will inherit from forms.model form. Okay, then you can have class meta, and our model will be equals to, let's import it, habit log. So we have our habit log there. Then the fields will be equals to, just the fields that are available here. We have habit and status. Okay, shall leave the date maybe out for now. I'll say habit fields equals to, so if you want all, you can do this underscore all underscore underscore. Okay, but I don't want all, so I'll be specific and say give me again, what do we have? Just to quickly have a quick look. The habit and the state, date and status. Okay, let's have that, date and status. Shall say date comma status. Okay, so I can close this and then import it here. Say habit log form, come back down here, and we're done with that. So but then we need to return our template. Say return, then we render takes the request as first argument. Okay, the request, and then after that it will also take the template, like, you know, so we shall have it in tracker slash add underscore log dot html. All right, then of course we can have our context here. So for the context, I'll simply say context equals to simple dictionary form. Okay, as simple as that. Then I can copy this and then create this file, this template, I mean. Okay, like that. And that template is actually very similar to one of our previous templates. Okay, which is, I think, the add habit. So I'll just copy everything from here, then paste there. Okay, then for us, when we click on add log, we should be redirected here. So we need to create the URL. Let's first create that URL. Okay, so let's import that view here called add log, and then we can now define the URL by saying path. Okay, path. What do we need? How are we going to call it? I can call it this now mean you can say habit. Okay, slash int pk. So this is the pick of the habit, then slash log, like that. Then the view, so the view equals to add underscore log, comma, name equals to add underscore log, like that. So we can use this, okay, by getting to the habit detail page. Where is it? Habit detail, and then say href is equals to, okay, then we say URL, okay, we can now pass the habit dot pk, then we say add underscore log. Okay, so we have an error here. Let's try to rerun this and see if everything will be okay. No reverse match for add log, so let's see add underscore log. Okay, so I'm trying to think to see what could be actually wrong with this, with my implementation. So let's go back to habit detail and see URL add log. Then here we have habit.pk, no reverse add log with arguments 3 patterns. Interesting. Isn't this interesting? Okay, so we have the habit being passed here, and URL Django is complaining about this. So probably this is my tired mind trying now to figure out what could be the issue with this. Okay, so let's see, let's go through this slowly. Probably even refresh this. You saw it's the same. So the issue is at this point. Okay, so we have habit. Okay, then oh, there's an angle bracket missing. Wow. So if I save this, everything should be okay. So look at how small issues can literally throw you off. So if I click on this, okay, this should now be clickable. If I click on it, add log, you see, say add new habits, but we copied and pasted into this. So we need to edit this template to reflect exactly what we want. So I can change this and say add log 4, yeah, for that. Then what else can we do here? Quickly refresh that. Oh, this is not the one. Is it add log? Oh, this is the wrong template. This is the wrong template. I'm supposed to go to another one. The one I need is this add log. Okay. Then now, okay, yeah. So yes, so this should be add log for we shall call it habit.name, like that. Okay. What else do we need here? I think we are missing the habit. Let's pass the habit to the context. Go to login. I mean not login, but views.py. And then in our context, let's pass the habit. Okay. Say habit, like that. So now you see we have it there. Add log for bicycle cycling. Then what else do we need to change? This should be go back to this habit list, just say habit detail, okay, like that. Then we can change this one to habit detail. Okay, so we need to pass here the habit.pk, like that. So I think that's it. So we can create our first one with that date, and we say this one was not completed, then we save habit. Of course, that nothing works. Okay, nothing works, but we save back, it works. Okay, add log, there it is. So we need to be able to finish the view for that to work. So to finish the view, we need to come here and say if the request dot method is equals to post, okay, then you can say the log will be equals to form dot save. Then we do not commit, so commit will be false, it will not send you to the database. Then we can say the log dot habit. Remember, every log has a habit. There's a relationship. If you go to models, you see that habit logs have a habit. So we need to populate this foreign key, okay, by saying log that habit will be equals to habit. Then finally we can say habit that save, like that. Okay, then we can now pass a message, say messages dot success, pass the current request, then simple message saying log added successfully, as simple as that. Then maybe like we did previously, can put a simple else statement. Okay, then indent this correctly, like that. Okay, so there we are. So let's try with that date, then save. Local variable form referenced before assignment. Okay. Oh yeah, here we have a mistake. We're supposed to actually get the form. Okay, the form. So look at me going ahead of myself. It's a problem of cram work. Okay, so we have the habit log form, and you can say request dot post, populate the form with the data, with the post data. Then you need to check if this form is valid. So never forget this, like me, don't dislocate like me. Form that is valid. If the form is valid, then we can do all this. Okay, we can do all that, including the message. And also we need to find a redirect. So we return redirect to the habit detail page, mean redirect to the habit detail view. Then the pk, or the primary key, will be equals to habit.pk, like that. All right, so of course you see this was because of so many redirections. Okay, so I can say add log, add another one. This time it is completed. So this button needs to change also. From save, we need to say add log. Okay, where is it? Simply say save log, like that. Okay, so when I add that date completed, add log added successfully. So we need to display our logs here. Let us fetch all our logs. We'll say logs equals to habit log, but we don't have that. So from models, import habit log. Then now down here you can say habit log dot objects. Give us all habit logs, okay, but for a particular habit. So a habit equals to habit. Remember, we have this here. Okay, we have a habit column as a foreign key. So after that, we can add it to the context and say logs. The key and the value is logs. Okay, then after that, we can come to the habit detail page and modify it. So I've added I pasted some emojis here that we are going to use. you can feel free to pick them from the repository. So let's try to modify this. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is that we shall need to maybe quickly create, I'll create here a simple title, h2 tag, and I say logs. Okay, let me just give it some little style and put it above. Okay, let's say empty form, or something is failing. Let me try to run this again. Okay, refresh. Okay, we have logs. Okay, after that we need to change something. Okay, so where are the logs? We need to loop through all the logs. Okay, but before that I need to create a list. Okay, I'll create a list, and then I'll say class equals to, it's going to be what I call a list group, then empty3. Okay, so this is a class for styling lists. Okay, after that we can now loop. Okay, can now create a loop and say for log in logs. Okay, then come here at the end and say end for, like that, so that will resolve the error here. Then after that, here I need to create a list item. Okay, and this list item shall give it a particular class. Okay, do that. I say the class of every list item will be list group item, like that. Okay, then after that, so I need to organize this a little bit. I will get the habit name. Okay, make this a bit habit name to make things a little bit tidy, and paste it just before this button. Also get a description and paste it straight after the title, like that. Okay, so that's a better order. I'll put some space there, and then let's now put the logs inside here. So I'll start with the logs date. Okay, remember we have dates for these logs. Okay, and that is this field here. Okay, after that, what do we need? The date, I can put maybe dashed separate, like that. Then I'll say an if statement. If log.status, if it is true, mean it is completed, we shall show something else. Okay, we shall show something else. So I have to close this, and if, and that is now okay. Why is it not showing? Is it because of this? Okay, because add log, I hope this is working, but let's first finish this, then we shall get to the debugging. All right, so here I can now create an anchor tag. Okay, this one, maybe no need for anchor tag. For now, I can pick this emoji here. Okay, this will indicate that you've completed that particular log. Okay, so I'll say completed, like that. Else, I copy this one here, paste it, and then this will be, let me put it in a small tag and say pending. Okay, then this can also be in small. Okay, like that. Completed. As simple as that. Then if it is empty, okay, if this is empty, let me say, okay, let me leave the end for, but in case this is empty, there are no logs, then I'll say empty like that. If it is empty like that, okay, then we shall simply put a simple paragraph and say no logs yet. Start tracking your habit like that. Okay, so you see we have a message there. Maybe we can design it a little bit and say class equals to text muted like that. Okay, so it will be grayed out, and of course this code is always in the repository. You can always find it there. So I don't need this anymore. All right, so we have this so far. So I'll try to indent this and try to probably add a log. Okay, let's add a log for this. It's the date, save. So the log has been added, but it's not being displayed. So let's debug this. So let's look at this closely. Look at this, okay? We first check if the form is valid. If it is valid, we save, but commit is false. Then we assign the habit, logged habit to habit. Then we say habit.save. Oh, so you see the problem? We're supposed to be saving the log, not the habit. So it's supposed to be log.save. Okay. So I hope this is the solution. Let's try it again. Enter a date. So I'll leave it like this, meaning it's not completed. And there we are. Add another one. Say completed, save. Okay. Pending, completed. And that's it. So we need to add, I think, some space. Some bit of like what do they call it? Is it margin at the bottom to create a little separation. Okay, so let's go to habit detail and see how to edit this, but maybe let's do this probably. Okay, let's do this. We can do it right now. I can say empty4 like that. Okay, give some breathing space. Let's create a function. Another view. This view will be called change habit log status, and it will do exactly what it says to take the request, and the pk of the habit log. So we can say the habit underscore log will be equals to get object of 404, and we can say give us the habit log, okay, an instance of the habit log whose pk is equals to pk. And of course, this view can only be accessed by people who have logged in. Then we can now make some checks that if the habit log is completed, okay, if this is true, then we can say habit log dot objects dot filter, okay, pk equals to pk, okay, want habit log with pk equals to pk, then I say dot update, okay, is that method update, and we say we change the status to false. Okay, so if it is true, we change the status to false. Then if it is already false, so we say if not habit log dot status, okay, we say habit log, okay, we can do like we did here. This is one way of how you can update a record. We can simply say habit log dot status equals to true, okay, habit log.save. Of course, there's a difference between doing this and this, but it's beyond the scope of this tutorial. But essentially, this will not call the underlying save method. It will not trigger it. Okay. And then after that, we can now return redirect. Okay, we shall redirect to the habit detail page. Okay, I'm going to say pk will be equals to habit log dot habit dot pk. All right, the habit log exact habit dot pk, because we want to get back to this page of the habit detail. All right, what else do we need here? I think we're good to go. So let's now move on to the urls.py. Close this, move to urls.py, and then here we'll define a new path. I'll call it, let's give it a simple name. I'll say status slash int pk forward slash, and the view will be equals to the view we want to use is called change habit log status. Okay, change habit log status, and then the name will be equals to, okay, change, let's just call it maybe status, simple as that. Okay, all right, so we can now go to the habit detail page and wrap these two with anchor tags. So let's do that. So I'll quickly come here, create an anchor tag. Okay, and then shall, so the href will be equals to curly brackets percent url, I think it's called status, right? Status, like that. And then after that, pk will be equals to the log dot pk, as simple as that. I don't know if our server is running. Let me just refresh this. Okay, so come back here. What else? Maybe we can add some, let's do some styling. Okay, let's say the class, maybe before that I can copy this and paste it right there. Okay, so of course we know it is decorated as this default decoration of underline, being underlined and in blue. So I'll say text decoration none, text reset, like that. Okay, all right, so we need to do the same for this, so I can just copy all this. Okay, paste it right here. Then we can need to indent this, then copy this. Okay, copy that and replace this right there. Okay, then I think this is good enough. So I think let's now test it. So we need, this should be now clickable. Let me try to refresh. Why is it not refreshing? Okay, it's not clickable. Okay, so if I click, I think it's now marked completed. If I click again, it's pending. If I click on this one, it's marked pending. If I click on this one, completed, pending, pending, both are pending, completed. Let's create a view called register. It will take the request and then return the template. Of course, render text in the request, and then a template. Okay, this will be tracker slash register dot html. So let's create this template. we come here, create it. Okay. After, we can quickly create the URL for this. Okay, so let me first import that view. I'll make this readable. Let me push this to the next line. Okay, like that. Then also this the next line. Then I can say register. We import register. Then we can now create the path here. Say path. And you want to use the same format like this, okay? Like for login. So we shall say accounts slash register forward slash, the view will be equals to register, and the name will be register, like that. Okay, so you can now go to the login page and make use of it. I'll log out. Okay, then we put some text below the form, and that text can quickly be a paragraph with an anchor tag saying don't have an account. So if you don't have an account, then we shall take you to the page whose URL is register, like that. Okay, so we shall take you to that. So let's test it. Click okay, but it's an empty page. So I'm going to copy all this, and let's go to this page, paste, save. Okay, and also make a few adjustments. Okay, so for example, this has to say register. Okay, this has to point us to login. This one has to say already have an account. Okay, like that. Then now we need to pass this form to the context. So I'll come to the views.py, and you see I've already imported the user question form. Okay, from django.auth.forms user question form. So it's an inbuilt form that will help us to register our users. Okay, so I'll say form is equals to user question form, then create the context and say our form key will have the value of form. Okay, then pass it here like this as context. Okay, so you see we have a nice form, username, password confirmation with some hints. Okay, so to make it work, we need to check that the request dot method is equals to post. Okay, then after that, why are we checking this? Of course, you know the method here is post. Okay, so in the method is post, we shall know that someone has submitted data and we need to save it. But before saving it, we need to create that form. I'll say our form will be equals to, okay, user creation form, and then we can now pass in the data from the request, from the form, I mean request.post, like that. And then the user, before that we need to say form, we need to check if the form is valid, if all data is valid. If it is valid, then we can save. Say user equals to form.save. And then after that, we can now log in our user. To log in our user, we need this function here. Okay, from Django contrib.auth, import login. It will help us to log in our user. So come down here and say login, and it takes the current request and a user instance. When we are done, we can now redirect the user to, okay, the habit list page, like that. Okay, what else? So can you easily maybe put an else statement here to make it easier for you. So if the method is post, do this. If it's get, else, we have that. So the context remains there. So let's test this. I'll say creating a user called door password 123 password that register. You see, the two password fields didn't match. Very nice. This is why I like these inbuilt forms created for us by Django already. And you can actually modify them however you want. So let me fix that. Okay. Say password is too short. It must contain at least 8 characters. This password is too common. This password is entirely numeric. So you see, so I can create something complex. Okay. Let me just type it out here quickly and say, assuming this is a password. Okay. Ctrl Z, copy that. Okay, so we paste here, then also we paste there. Then we register. There we are. So since it's a new user, you see, our thing is working. It says no habits yet. Start by adding one. So we can click here to create a habit or go back. All right. So I will log out and log in with our user who has created some habits. Log in. There we are. So I think you see how it will work. So no logs for this habit yet. We check this one has logs. We have our templates in our app, templates tracker. So this was the order I told you how to do it. Okay. And this is possible because of this. Okay. App does true. So inside your app, have a templates directory and another directory having the same name as the name of your app. But there's another way you can have templates. Okay. You can create them anywhere. For example, I can come into our root and create a directory called templates. So let me spell this correctly. Templates like that. And then I can put some global files here, okay? Assuming we had 10 apps and I wanted some templates to be shared amongst all apps. For example, like base.html. So I can drag this there, okay? I can move also the navbar, okay, into there, okay? And of course, this will break our application, okay? So we need to tell Django about this directory. By doing that, we use this does, okay? Under templates, this is a list, of course, but this is configuration for templates. So in does, in this list here, we can say we have another directory in the base directory slash templates, like that, slash templates, okay, and save. So once we are done, we can now make adjustments. We can now refactor and we come to, for example, the habit detail page, okay, and say our tracker is now it's not tracker base HTML, it is directly base.html. So Django will check here also and will find it, okay. But we have another problem. Tracker navbar.html does not exist, so we have to go to base.html and remove this, okay. Remove tracker to navbar.html, just like that. And you see our app is back working because they're in the same location, okay. So let's try other pages. Let's try the habit list, okay. We need to fix that habit list. Change this to base.html. Save. Go to add habit page. Okay, change this to base.html. Okay. What else do we need to do? Edit habit page. Okay, change this to base.html. What else do we need? Add log page, add log, remove tracker, have only base.html, save. What else do we need? I think these others are okay. Yeah, so whatever you see you need that, make sure you change that. Okay. So using this new the configuration that we set up in our settings.py, if I can get that quickly, Django will check this directory for our templates and also will check the the directories in our apps, meaning it will check here for templates into this directory and also this one here. Okay, so you can name this anyhow, okay, but for now, of course, templates makes it more direct and makes sense. Let's talk about the Django ORM. Okay, the Django, and I spell this right, ORM. Okay, so once you have created your data models, okay, once you have created your data models, where they like this, like this one that we have, Django automatically gives you a database abstraction. Okay, Django gives you a database abstraction, which is an API. Okay, we can think about it as a system, an API or a system which helps you to create, retrieve, and update. Okay, to create, read, update, and delete objects. Okay, you'll hear about CRUD operations, or CRUD or CRUD. Okay, C for create, R for read, U for update, D for deleting. Okay, create, read, update, and delete. Okay, this abstraction or this system here gives you ability to create, read, delete objects. Okay, and we have already done this. Okay, we have done this. If you see, if you go to our views.py, we see we have done many operations. Okay, we've been able to read. Okay, we've been able, if you go to here, we've been able to create by doing this. Okay, we've been able to delete. Okay, we've been able to delete. Also, we've been able, I think we did an update somewhere. All right, you see, we've been able to update. So what enables you to do all this is the Django ORM. Okay, and ORM is simply an abbreviation. Okay, an abbreviation for object relation mapper. Okay, object relation mapper. I hope I've got that spelling correct. Okay, so it simply gets these models, where our models, okay, these models, okay, like this class, and maps it to a table in our database. Okay, having columns named after these fields, these public fields, these public class attributes. Okay, as simple as that, and then helps us do all these operations. Okay, and it's actually very useful and makes things easier. Okay, for example, under the hood, it writes SQL queries for us. Okay, so one of the advantages is that we're not required, okay, to write SQL in our code. We're only going to use one language. Okay, one language, which is Python. In addition to that, you find that the ORM is also going to help us write tests easily. Okay, it's easy to write tests. Okay, and you're writing tests against Python. Okay, and easy to mock the database. You don't have to hassle with SQL. Okay, this also makes it easy for us to have our data. Okay, our data in Python objects. Okay, your data is in Python objects, and this means it is easy to interact with them. Okay, instead of having to interact with the exact can I call it query result from SQL, you have your data in Python objects. Oh, you also have automatic validation. Okay, it helps us to automate validation, making work very easy. Okay, validation in your objects, and remember, this is still Python. Okay, another advantage is that it helps us do lots of things. Okay, things like migrations, like you saw me doing migrations at the beginning. Okay, so migrations, even security. Okay, security. So I just wanted to add this and mention these key things about the ORM, because we've been using the Django ORM, but I didn't talk about it explicitly, and it does way more than this. You can read about it in the official Django documentation. You must have noticed that when we add a log, okay, we are putting dates in the past and it works. So we need to do some validation, okay, to only allow dates in the future. So we can come here and define a method, okay. So this method, to do the validation, must start with the word clean, then underscore. All right, clean underscore. Then the name of the field you want to validate. In our case, it's the date, okay. And it's an instance method, so it will take self as the first argument, okay. So if we wanted to validate status, would say clean status, like that. So we need the date. Then after that, we need to get the value of the date. So I can say date value, or simply date, will be equals to self dot. So there's a property called cleaned data which has been validated by Django, okay. And we can say date, or even better, we can, since this is a dictionary, we can say dot get date, okay. Then after that, we can check if the date actually exists, okay, it's not none, and that the date is less than or equals to today, okay, today's date. So we need to define today, okay. How do we define this? So I can say from date time, okay, import date, like that, okay. Then I can say here, I can say date dot today, okay, date dot today. Then if it is less than that, then I can raise validation error, okay. So we need to import this at the top here. We shall say from Django.core.exceptions, okay, import validation error, like that. So yes, what we need here, then we can simply say, okay, the date must be in the future, like that, okay. And then simply can return the date. I've noticed we're going to have a conflict. I think we have date and date, so maybe I can call this date value, okay, then say date value, date, like that. Or I can even leave that, okay, and say, call this, yeah, let me just leave it that way. Let me not make things complex. Return date value, okay. Like that, okay. Maybe change this. So date value equals self.clean. So let's save this. Let's try to put a date in the past and save. Local variable context refreshed before assignment. Okay, this is interesting and new. I thought we had this resolved, so I think I must have changed something somewhere. Let's go to views.py. Okay, add log. So adjust that, save. All right, so you see the error. The date must be in the future. However much I tried, okay, change maybe to something else, save, the date must be in the future. So our validation is working. If I change this to 4, save, if I put this maybe at let's say 12, save. All right. Many times when you create a project, you want to share it with other developers, or you want to deploy it to some environment, but you want to know what packages, okay? People want to know what packages, or that environment may want to know what packages or apps you're working with in your project. To do that, usually you'll find Python developers creating a file called requirements.txt and then have all their requirements here. So in this project, we have the Django browser reload, Crispy Forms, Crispy Bootstrap, and Django. So yeah, this is one way of sharing it, or sharing your requirements. Of course, there are better ways of doing this, but this is the most basic way. You have learned so many things in this course. Go ahead and practice them again. Try to build the project without following me. Of course, if you get stuck, you can watch a particular section. And after that, try to add one feature, try to trick them and make it work in your own way. And you learn a lot. Okay? So that said, see you in the next course that I'll be sharing here. If you want to see me teach anything, write it in the comment section and I'll be happy to teach you about it. So like the video, subscribe and share it with your friends.